Welcome, everyone. This is the AM News. To begin with, President Akufo-Addo has assured organized labor that the executive will work closely with the legislature to pass the new labor law this year before his tenure ends. The president is hopeful the law will help address labor disputes and set fair and appropriate wages for workers. President Akufo-Addo was addressing workers at this year's May Day celebration.
The upward adjustment of the base pay by 23% in the first half of the year and by 25% in the second half of the year is a demonstration of government's commitment to improving and protecting public sector incomes. This is being done to signal the importance government places on the welfare of workers. Chairperson, Secretary General, though today marks my final May Day address to organized labor as President of the Republic, having served by January the 7th, 2025, the constitutionally permitted allotment of 2 terms of 4 years each, I want to assure you that this, however, will not be my last encounter with organized labor.
Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, Dr. Anthony Yao Ba, bemoaned the low wages paid workers, particularly workers in the private sector. This, he says, translates into small pension benefits when workers go on retirement.
Comrades, we are celebrating this May Day at the time Ghanaian workers and their families are grappling with high cost of living and inflation of over 25%. Exchange rate of the cedi is now almost 14 cedis, if not more, to $1, compared to about 4 in 2016. That means workers who earned monthly salary of 1,000 Ghana cedis in 2016 were taking home the equivalent of $250. Today, 1,000 Ghana cedis is only $71 US. The depreciation of the cedi at this monumental scale, that is about 250% depreciation, represents a huge decline in living standards of Ghanaians generally and workers in particular. This is so because of our over-reliance on imported goods such as medicines, refined petroleum products, and food, whose prices are directly affected by the exchange rate of the Ghana cedi in terms of the major international currencies such as the US dollar and the pound sterling. What it means is that if we want our cities to be stable, we should reduce imports and consume what we produce in Ghana. Furthermore, as we all know very well, Ghanaian workers rely on loans to meet very basic necessities such as rent advance and our children's education. And in some cases, we even have to rely on loans for food. Today, we are paying interest rates of 30% to access loans from the banks. In the informal economy, interest rates can even be as high as 50% or even sometimes higher. Our children graduate from the universities and colleges after we have spent so much on them, but they cannot find jobs. And the trouble is that there seems to be no end of this socioeconomic hardship in sight. We were told that an IMF bailout will help, but we know that IMF bailout cannot be a solution to Ghana's economic hardship. The relatively high wage increases negotiated for workers in the last 2 years have lost their real values. So, comrades, we have a lot of work to do to protect the working people of Ghana. Brother Chairman, let me shift our attention to the theme of this year's May Day celebration, and that is Election 2024, the role of workers and social partners in securing peaceful elections for national development. As in the previous election years,
And our Fisheries Minister, Mavis Hawa-Kumsin, is urging workers across the country to use the May Day celebration to reflect on their attitude and output at work. According to her, should all hands be on deck at the various workstations of the workers, the country would develop than it is already doing currently. She was speaking at this year's May Day celebration at Kaswa. There's more in this report.
Yes, we can play a role.
Fisheries and Aquaculture Development Minister Mavis Hawa-Kumsin imploring workers to put their shoulders to the wheel by contributing their quota to the socio-economic development of the country.
Celebration, man, and your fanfare, Keke. But let us sit down and reflect back. Say, what are you doing in your own way to also contribute to your quota?
Don't let this celebration just be a fanfare, but a moment for sober reflection. When you go to work, do you do what is expected of you? Do you go to work on time as your job requires you to do? If you are a nurse or a teacher, do you discharge your duties efficiently? Once we all contribute our quota to the development of the country, I believe Ghana will be a better place for all of us. Central Regional Minister Justina Marigodasan called for the sustenance of the peace the country is currently enjoying, especially in the run-up to the polls in December.
It has become an important occasion for working people to raise their collective voice with respect to their demands and challenges facing them and their trade unions. The theme, Election 2024, the role of workers and social partners in securing peaceful elections for national development, could therefore not have been more appropriate and timelier. The theme runs directly in consonance with the effort of governments and all well-meaning Ghanaians in our collective responsibility to ensure peaceful general elections in 2024 towards the forward march of Ghana to become a prosperous country. Indeed, the theme is a timely reminder of the progress we have made so far as a nation in upholding democratic principles and values. Ghana's democracy stands as a shining example on the African continent, a testament to our commitment to good governance, the rule of law, and respect for human rights. Furthermore, our democratic journey has no doubt witnessed some turbulence over the years. We have made mistakes, taken wrong turns, and sometimes stumbled. However, with resilience and determination, we have always picked ourselves up, dusted ourselves, and got back on the path of freedom, justice, and openness.
Central Regional Secretary of the TUC, Cynthia Mame Abba Sam Ananu, also called for peace as the country approaches yet another elections.
As in the previous elections, we chose this theme to emphasize the need for all Ghanaians to work hard to maintain peace in Ghana. As we all know, Ghana has not done too well in economic management, but at least we are enjoying relative peace compared to other countries in the sub-region. The peace we are enjoying is priceless, so we should never allow partisan politics to destroy it.
To some more stories from Workers' Day, Upper West Regional Minister Stephen Yakubu has admonished labor unions in the country to use dialogue to get their grievances resolved than resorting to violence and strikes. Upper West Regional Chairman of the Trades Union Congress, Ibrahim Wema, in an earlier speech that they will be embarking on a series of industrial strikes should the government fail to address their concerns by end of next week. Stephen Yakubu, on taking to the platform, assured that the government was looking into their concerns and will be duly addressed. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from WA.
Leadership and members of the various labor unions in the Upper West region first converged at the Watertown basketball volleyball courts before spilling all principal streets in the heart of the municipality to mark May Day, otherwise known as Workers' Day. They walked and danced to music from loud sound system kept on a heavy truck. They later converged at the Nasiri Bomb II Park, where they were addressed by their leadership. They fight government for failing to address their concerns, which has resulted in the poor working conditions they are currently wallowing in. First to draw first blood was the Upper West Regional Chairman of the Trades Union Congress, Ibrahim Wema.
Honorable Regional Minister, organized labor have one message for you today. Guess what? Resolve all our challenges in the labor front immediately. That is the message. If you fail, by 6th of May this year, 2024, if organized labor doesn't receive any message from you, we will advise ourselves. And if you don't stop us, and our brothers in the education sector take the lead, by 7th May, if they strike, organized labor will join. And if we are joining the strike, our message will be two messages. One, against the National Labour Commission. Two, against our employer. We are striking against National Labour Commission because they have failed to act. So our strike is based on them. We will not take any solution other than solving the challenge. Against the employer because the employer has failed to follow the roadmap to solve our challenges. We are not going to call off the strike for negotiations. We will be on strike until our challenges are resolved.
Next was the Upper West Regional Secretary of the Trades Union Congress, Garba Godwin.
Let us turn our attention to working conditions in Ghana. In spite of the existence of relatively strong institutions, legal framework for industrial relations, many Ghanaian workers still suffer wrongful termination and dismissal. Some are not allowed to exercise their constitutional right, form, or join a union of their choice to protect their socio-economic interests. Many workers suffer injuries and death at their workplace, and many more are denied justice in dispute with their employers.
Upper West Regional Minister Stephen Yakubu admonished labor unions in the country to use dialogue to resolve their grievances rather than violence and strikes.
Leadership of organized labor should focus more on dialogue and negotiation rather than adopt strike or other violent means. The chairman wanted me to solve the problems today. Otherwise, Mr. Chairman, please don't use violent means. Workers' agitations have centered on securing a living wage and better conditions of service. And I would like to assure you that this government, my government, your government, Nanado's government, remains very much committed to achieving this goal.
One mayor, Isaku Tahir Momin acknowledged contributions of the labor unions in the country's development and urged them to stand united for a better future for the country.
As labor unions, let us stand united in our pursuit for a better future for all. Together, we can make a lasting impact and build a nation that thrives on the strength and unity of its people.
Reporting for J News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Away from that, but still in the Upper West region, the regional commander of the Ghana Prison Service, Assistant Director of Prison, James Imuyela, has underscored the important role played by the prison in the criminal justice system. He noted despite the role played by the trio of the police courts and the prisons, the latter is the weakest link among them since it is not well resourced. ADP James Imuyela made the statement at WA, where the Ghana Commercial Bank donated some food and non-food items to the WA Central Prison. Rafik Salam again has more.
The WA Central Prison has been grappling with myriad of challenges, including inadequate food for the over 200 inmates, 7 various sentences, overcrowding at the cells, and inadequate drugs at the infirmary. Another is the issue of the collapse of part of the outer giant wall of the prison some 2 years ago, which poses a threat to the security of the prison. The Ghana Commercial Bank, GCB, as part of the May Day celebration and their corporate social responsibility, decided to come to the aid of the inmates and the authorities by donating food items, toiletries for the consumption of the inmates, and bags of cement to help build the broken fence wall. Retail sales manager for the World GCB branch, Botan Bempa Dennis, presented the items on behalf of the Upper West Regional Manager of GCB, Alhaji Seydou Ibrahim, to the World Central Prison.
We are here with 30 bags of cement to help them erect their broken wall and some few food items, 3 bags of rice, 6 gallons of oil, and some toiletries as well. So as part of our sales meetings with them, they asked for support and also to ensure visibility in the catchment areas that we operate. As a bank, we see this as part of our corporate social responsibility. We want to say that GCB for 70 years has been serving Ghanaians and is the safest place to do business. And of course, we want to encourage each and every one of us out there to have their business with us. Businesses, individuals, salary workers, we serve all of them.
Upper West Regional Commander of the Ghana Prison Service, Assistant Director of Prison, James Imuyela, thanked the GCB for the donation, pledging to use them for the intended purpose.
And I want to say that this will go a long way. This will go a long way. It's one of the single biggest donations we've had since we started this appeal for support, especially as it relates to the feeding of the inmates. There's something that is topmost on our agenda. But once, as we say, belly full, then the man will be ready to listen to other things. You know, the inmates that come here, we have to take them through a treatment regime, so that they come out better than they came in. And that is where the society at large has a role to play. The state, the prisons will do what we have to do. Our core mandate is safe custody, and of course their welfare. And wherever possible, to see to the reformation, rehabilitation. So their welfare is topmost on our agenda, and the feeding is one. And it may interest you to know that some of the inmates that are here, they don't get visits at all. Some get them sparingly. You know, so we've taken it up to try to link them up with someone out there, so that when they are going out, they've served their sentence, they are going out, someone should come here to the prison yard here, embrace them and take them home.
ADP James Imuyela underscored the important role played by the prison service and also used the opportunity to lay bare some plans put in place to address some teething challenges at the prison.
The prison will play a critical role in the criminal justice delivery system. We have the court, we have the police, and the prison, the key players. Now all have to work in well. If not, currently the prisons is the weakest chain. The police, the court, they come here. Now what do they do here? In terms of reformation, rehabilitation, just some few skill training, we do take them through some counseling, but it's not enough. As I speak to you, I just have less than 20 out of the almost 200 inmates who are going through some kind of skill training, tailoring, weaving. Then the rest, what are they doing? So we are looking at teaching and learning, working with the complementary education office or Ministry of Education. So the vast majority of them should be engaged in teaching and learning. We're also taking that by uniform seriously to complement, so that it could be a way for somebody to also learn, how to some skill. So that
To more news now. In a significant step towards the rejuvenation of coastal communities in Ghana, the West Africa Coastal Management Project has launched its operations with a strong commitment to restoring socio-economic activities in the area. Led by project coordinators Noble Waja and Ken Kinney, the initiative aims to revitalize the regional coastal regions, starting with Keta and Angloga, through sustainable practices and eco-friendly tourism. The project, which is being generously sponsored by the World Bank, kicked off with a series of engagements with local stakeholders, highlighting core mission to uplift the communities and preserve the natural beauty of the coastal areas.
The project, which has been generously sponsored by the World Bank, kicked off with a series of engagements with local stakeholders, highlighting its core mission to uplift the communities and preserve the natural beauty of the coastal areas. Noble Waja, one of the project coordinators, emphasized the importance of the Waka project in restoring the livelihoods of residents while preserving the environment.
It has 3-tier components. The first level component is regional integration. Regional integration to mean that those processes and actions or ground realities that are in other regions or in other countries that may not be here, or the vice versa, which countries can borrow from. So the synergy between actions and processes that are in different countries, because the project is happening in different countries. So the second level component is looking at policy legislation harmonization in our country. That is one area too, because the project can throw out a challenge for certain existing legislations, programs and policies. So the project is also looking at how the project will become a conduit to mobilize, to harness the ends of all those potential differential legal or policy regimes. The third level, which is most important to why we are here, is what we call the sub-project level, which is going to look at physical infrastructure development to give mandate to coastal resilience. So those will be projects that will be done at the community level. It could involve rehabilitation of existing infrastructures or establishment.
One of the key focuses of the project is the rejuvenation of the Lagoon Basin area, with plans to transform it into a hub for ecotourism. This strategic move not only aims to attract visitors, but also to create new economic opportunities for the residents of Keta and Angloga districts. The executive director of the Development Institute and one of the coordinators of the project, Ken Kinney, elaborated on the vision for the Lagoon Basin.
At long last, the coastal communities, I would say government and the World Bank have heard their concerns and want to do something about their plight. The Waka project has been running along the coast of Ghana, along the coast of West Africa, from Senegal to, if you talk about West Africa, we're talking about West African coast. And that involves starting all the way from Senegal to Nigeria, that's West Africa. And the Waka project is formulated to support governments, nations, and our countries to invest in coastal resilience for the community. So the project is looking at, one, because it is a regional project, is looking at how to harmonize good practices within the countries along West Africa. NGOs are brought into this project because the World Bank, as a learning bank, has decided that they want to experiment how citizens will participate in such a project. They are supposed to, because citizens also have some knowledge, the project will tap on those knowledge, build their capacity, and they can use them to the maximum.
A development expert, Joel Degg, was hopeful of a successful takeoff of the project implementation.
The WACA project, or the WACA RESIP, West Africa Coastal Areas Resilience Investment Project, is a World Bank finance project for West African countries suffering from coastal erosion and flood issues. Yeah, so Ghana has been chosen as part of the countries to benefit from this project. Yeah, so in Ghana, the project is taking place in Greater Accra and Volta region. And in Volta region, it encompasses 3 districts: the Angolan district, the Keta municipality, and the Ketu South municipality. These are the 3 districts east of the Volta estuary. And this place in Ghana is a hotspot, the most affected coastal areas, so long as coastal erosion and tidal waves action is concerned. So this project has come to, protect the coast somehow, and using either the gray technology or the green technology, that's the nature-based technology, either the groins or the seawalls or the beach nourishment, so that those suffering from the coastal erosional activities will have some respite. So the project is looking at communities like Fuvema and Keta and Adina, Salakopo, Agaveji in the Ketu South district. So it is to, protect the coast and build resilience for the coastal community so far as the resource management is concerned. So as an individual, a resident of Keta and a native of Keta, of course, I'm happy that this project has finally come, because Ghana is not the first person or the first country to enjoy this project. It's been done in other places like Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, and Benin. Yeah, so this project coming to Ghana, especially Keta area, is a joy to some of us, because we have been suffering from this coastal erosion and tidal wave and the flood issues for some time now. And we believe this project will be, somehow a solution to these perennial environmental threats that the area has suffered all these years.
During the meetings with stakeholders, assurances were given that the WACA project would prioritize the needs and aspirations of the community members. However, a 4-member committee was formed to help with intermediaries. As the WACA project gains momentum in Ghana, it stands as a beacon of hope for coastal regions across West Africa. Ivy Satoji for joining.
And that will be all for the AM News. We're back with a news review shortly. Don't go away.